Welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, we're going to cover how to pour a concrete slab. We're going to cover everything and how to get the ground ready, how to build the form, and then how to pour and finish the concrete. So let's get to it. The slab I'm pouring is going to be for my pool filter to sit on. However, the same steps can be applied to any slab that you're pouring. A few years ago when I built the pool, I initially put down some pavers that the filter has been resting on since then, but I decided to pour a slab before we open the pool for this year. The first step is to always demo the area. For me, that meant getting the pool filter out of the way and ripping out those pavers that I had set years ago. With the old foundation gone, I can now measure the size of the slab needed to support the filter. In my case, I'm going to pour a slab that is 2 feet by 3 feet. I start by building the form out of 2x4s and screwing them together to get my 2 foot by 3 foot rectangle. It's important to note here that the thickness of your wood is going to be the thickness of your finished slab. After setting the form in place, it's time for gravel. Now, since I had existing pavers here previously, they were already sitting on top of paver base, so I did not need to dig down, as that was done a couple years ago when I laid the pavers. It's worth noting you want about 4 inches or so of compacted gravel below the slab to ensure the slab is properly supported. Once I knew that I had enough gravel in the form, I took my compactor and went around the slab a few times, making sure that the entire base was super strong. The last step to get the slab prepped for concrete was to set some concrete pins. I'm going to attach these to my form with some screws, and these allow me to level the slab and ensure that the weight of the concrete doesn't move my form around as I'm pouring. Alright, so that's going to finish the prep work. So we obviously got our form built, we got our concrete anchors pounded into place, attached to our form. Once all that was in, we leveled off our form to make sure our concrete pad is going to be level. After that, we obviously got all of the gravel in, compacted that in, and that's going to provide a nice base to support our concrete slab. So we are ready to pour concrete, so let's get to the fun part. All right, before we pour any concrete, I just want to run through a couple things you're going to need in order to get a professional slab in the end. So I'm going to be mixing the concrete in a wheelbarrow, and I'm going to be using an old garden hoe to mix the concrete. I've found this works the best, and most of us already have one on hand. Next is going to be a float of some sort. This is a magnesium float, the most common use. But essentially what we're going to do is we smooth the concrete using this tool. It's going to push down the rocks and bring the cream from the concrete up to the top and give us a really nice finish. Next is an edger. So as you can see, this is rounded on one side. So we're going to run this along the perimeter of the slab, and instead of leaving a sharp corner, it's going to leave a smooth round corner. And what that's going to do is prevent the edges from ever chipping. Last is going to be a broom. So this is a concrete broom, but any broom you have will work as long as it's clean. A smooth slab is a very slippery slab, which is why any sidewalks or driveways have a brushed finish on them to give you traction. It's not that important for a slab like this. We're not going to be walking on it. It's just a foundation to put our pool filter on, but I'm going to use it anyway. Now, if you've never mixed concrete before, there's really no science behind it. All you need to do is pour the bag into a wheelbarrow, add water, and mix it together. Keep adding water as needed until the concrete is mixed and you don't see any dry spots. These first couple bags I mixed on the drier side, and then the last two a little bit more on the wetter side. There is some tolerance here, you just don't want really soupy concrete or really dry concrete. So now that we got the first layer of concrete, I have some wire mesh reinforcement here, and it's important this sits in the middle of the slab. You don't want it sitting on the bottom because it's really not doing anything, and obviously you don't want it on the top poking out of your concrete. Point is for this to be in the exact middle of the slab. What that's going to do is provide reinforcement so the slab doesn't fall apart and crumble. So now I think I have enough concrete in the form. What I'm going to do now is take a straight edge. I'm just going to use a 2x4 and I'm going to run it along the form, smoothing out this concrete to the top edge. And if I see any holes like I do here, I'm just going to take some from back here, fill it in, and redo it. All right, so we got that flattened out. We took the excess off of the frame. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this set up, but before I do, I just wanna give it a quick smoothing with the float. So again, I'm just going to give it a quick pass like that. I don't want to do it too much because it's still pretty wet and I don't want to bring all the water to the top. So I'm going to let this sit for about 30-ish minutes. I'll come back and check it, put some fingers in it, make sure it's starting to harden up before we go ahead and finish it. So the slab has dried a little bit. I'm going to do my first pass on the edging to get these corners rounded over. Then I'm still going to let it dry a little bit longer before I go ahead and mag the entire slab. All right, it's probably been a good 40 minutes or so. The concrete is firming up, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. And really what we're trying to do here is, we see all these little holes left over. What we're trying to do is close those up, that way no water gets in there and weakens the concrete. All right, so I've taken my final pass at smoothing out and rounding our corners. Now the last thing we need to do is just smooth out this slab and get rid of these lines left by the edger. And after we're done finishing, it should look something like this. As you can see, super smooth, no holes in the top or anything like that. We're gonna let this set up a little bit more, as we did bring a little bit more moisture to the top when we were floating it. And then we're gonna use the broom and give it a broom finish. All right, the very last step is now take this broom and we're just gonna run it along the surface and give it that texture. That is going to do it for this week's video. Hopefully that one helps you guys out if you're going to be pouring any concrete this summer. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and make sure you are subscribed. There's a ton of videos coming. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it very much, and we'll see you next time.